Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the Scotiabank on St. Croix was held up early Wednesday morning, but the police had the suspect in custody in less than half an hour. News 2's Erica Parsons has the story.
A 27-year-old man is behind bars this evening after holding up the only Scotiabank servicing branch on St. Croix Wednesday morning.
After 10 o'clock this morning, police received a call from 911 dispatchers that there was a robbery here at the bank.
Our suspect was successful in getting some monies from the bank and probably some patrons in the bank.
Police say Gilberto Serrano was caught within minutes of robbing the bank by an off-duty officer in the Queens Quarter area.
This was the quick work of an off-duty police officer and our Special Operations Bureau. He was apprehended with all of the currency and the weapons in a few miles away from the location.
Police say no one was injured, although an ambulance was called as a precaution. Witnesses said one of the bank's employees may have fainted, although they refused medical attention. This is at least the second time this branch has been held up in as many years, and management made the decision to close the bank for the rest of the day. Employees who were still visibly shaken were seen leaving the bank around 12:30. One of the bank's customers says mentoring and more jobs will cut down on crime.
We need to talk to our young people. I know it's hard, you can't get a job, but at least children can do better. I think the government need to find more jobs for the children, and that's the problem. They need work.
Along with the detectives, Chief Paris says the community is also to be commended for their help.
And I want to thank the community and the public for helping us and giving us some very, very good information on this.
Erica Parsons, News 2.
Police have not released the amount of money the suspect was able to take before being captured, but he was on a bicycle when he was caught. Bank officials say Scotiabank will resume its normal hours on Thursday. Meanwhile, Senator Kenneth Gittens, chairman of the Committee of Homeland Security, Justice and Public Safety, commended 911 emergency dispatchers and law enforcement officers on Wednesday afternoon for their coordination and apprehension of the lone suspect who held up the bank.
Though our law enforcement and emergency service entities remain deficient in certain areas, it is still evident in today's apprehension that our officers and dispatchers are committed to their duties and responsibilities, even while they're off duty. Again, I wish to commend our 911 emergency dispatchers in the District of St. Croix, the responding officers, both on and off duty, and their supervisors, and members of the community for their swift actions, and I implore them to continue their valiant efforts as they continue to serve our community.
The Criminal Investigation Bureau detectives on St. Thomas are investigating a first-degree robbery that occurred at the Little Bar in Contant on September 30th. The 38-year-old victim said he was sitting outside the business when two men walked past him, then came back wearing masks and took his jewelry. The suspect stole the victim's Cuban link gold chain and Pillsbury Doughboy pendant from around his neck. The jewelry is valued at $8,000, and detectives are still following up on the case. Well, some sad news to report. Major crime detectives on St. Thomas have confirmed that 22-year-old Alfonso Cuiman, the second victim in the September 28 fatal shooting in Frenchtown, died at 8:51 a.m. on October 1st. Police were called to the scene of the shooting at about 11:25 p.m. on September 28th. Andre Christian, 27 years of age, was also shot that night and was unresponsive at the scene. He later was pronounced dead by medical staff. Police said both victims were shot multiple times as they were at the rear of the Frenchtown Fish Market after a verbal argument turned physical, and shots were fired. The investigation continues. Major crime detectives on St. Thomas have arrested 3 men and charged them with first-degree murder in the August 24th fatal shooting of 41-year-old Gregory LeBlanc. The suspects are 23-year-old Marco Colon, 21-year-old Marley Saunders, and 20-year-old Josiah Hodge. In addition to the first-degree murder charge, the suspects were also charged with murder in the second degree, first-degree assault, third-degree assault, 4 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime of violence, first-degree robbery, and conspiracy. All 3 suspects were arrested on October 1st and held on $500,000 bail. The St. Croix District Board of Elections met for its regular meeting Wednesday to discuss a number of items. On Thursday, the joint board will be meeting on St. Croix, and district members voted to recommend to them a policy change. The St. Croix District wants the rules changed to allow members to vote by video conferencing to help save on travel and transportation costs.
Right now, we can't have voting on video conference. We have to be present at a joint board meeting or a meeting in order to vote, to make decisions. So basically, we put that before that the St. Croix board have decided collectively that we're recommending that we allow the joint board meetings to be held via video conference, so we'll save time, and as they used to do polling to see who could come and who don't want to come, so we can get away from that. If you can be in St. Thomas or St. Croix, you don't have an excuse not to be there. So basically, if you have video conferencing, you can vote at the video conferences. We can't do that right now. So you have to be present physically, and you can't vote on the phone.
Well, in other news, the federal government shutdown is not only affecting citizens in the United States, but of course here in the Virgin Islands as well. The Department of Labor has been receiving many phone calls inquiring about whether or not unemployment checks will continue to be distributed. NEWS2's Shaniqua Robinson has that story.
The federal government shutdown has many citizens throughout the United States concerned about its effects.
If the government shutdown continues after today, the Labor Department has already said it will have to delay the release of the September jobs report.
Now that the shutdown is in effect, many Virgin Islanders who are scheduled to receive unemployment checks are unsure as to whether or not they will receive their funds. The Department of Labor assures the community that unemployment checks will not be affected by the federal government shutdown. According to Commissioner Albert Bryan, even though the Virgin Islands have several programs that are funded by the federal government, our funding and general operations are not immediately impacted at this time by the shutdown. The Department of Labor also announced the receipt of over $2.7 million to the Unemployment Insurance Program's Integrity, Performance, and System Improvement Project. The grant funding will be used to support the prevention and detection of UI improper benefit payments, improve local performance, and to address outdated information technology system infrastructure. Shaniqua Robinson reporting for NEWS2.
Now, if you have additional questions, feel free to contact the Department of Labor on St. Croix at 773-1994 and St. Thomas at 776-3700. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have their heels dug in, making it hard to see an end to the government shutdown. House Republicans are pushing legislation designed to reopen parts of the government, including national parks. But the President and Senate Democrats are insisting on a clean bill that funds the whole government. Danielle Nottingham has the latest from Capitol Hill.
President Obama called congressional leaders to the White House on day 2 of the partial government shutdown to look for a way to end it.
I think it's important that he listen to what McConnell and Boehner have to say. He knows how Pelosi and I feel.
On Capitol Hill, the battle over legislation to fund the government and the blame game continues.
President Obama and Harry Reid think that this shutdown's the best thing that ever happened to them politically.
We in this House must end this shutdown.
Democrats want a spending bill without any strings attached. Republicans want a delay in the president's health care law to be part of the deal. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers spent another day at home without pay. The director of national intelligence told lawmakers that includes about 70% of his civilian workforce.
This is extremely damaging, and it will increase so as this shutdown drags on.
Director Clapper says employees not receiving a paycheck are prime targets for foreign governments wanting to gain state secrets. Danielle Nottingham, NEWS2.
There has been much made of the closing of the World War II Memorial in Washington as veterans traveled to the city to visit it. As we just mentioned, the Republican National Committee announced Wednesday afternoon it would pay to keep that monument open for the next 30 days. As the federal government shutdown entered its second day, visible signs of the impasse could be seen on Capitol Hill Wednesday in national parks, service facilities. Signs and barricades are up in the parks along the National Mall due to the shutdown. Federal agencies are closed as well. Keeping our eye on the economy, economists estimate that the partial government shutdown will cost the U.S. economy $300 million a day. But the first day of the shutdown didn't seem to panic investors. Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew has sent Congress another warning, urging lawmakers to increase the nation's debt limit. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank's Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all down. The Dow 58, Nasdaq 2, S&P 1. Coming up on News 2, drum roll please. The Queen of Percussions is coming to the Virgin Islands, and some students will have the opportunity to learn the basics of drumming with a workshop from none other than Sheila E. herself. We'll be right back. Well, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and the VI Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Council wants the public to be aware of their Purple Ribbon campaign. Organizers are asking the community to wear the ribbons proudly as a voice against domestic violence and sexual assault. The ribbons can be found at major supermarkets, offices, and businesses across the territory, and the DVSAC office.
Sometimes people may feel as though, it's such a strong topic. It's something that makes some people uncomfortable. And so they may associate the purple ribbon with something negative. And for those people, how I would actually pitch the purple ribbon is to say, well, when you're speaking up against domestic violence and sexual assault, you're actually speaking up for healthy relationships, for love, for peace, for respect. So I don't want people to view the purple ribbon as something that is so grim, but it's actually an opportunity for us to improve our relationships and improve as individuals as well.
Also, the Women's Coalition of St. Croix would like to invite the community to an open house on Thursday, October 3rd from 1 p.m. until 4 p.m. in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, the center is inviting the public to visit with the staff at the Crisis Center, which is located at 45 Fisher Street in Christiansted, to learn more about all the free and confidential services they provide to the St. Croix community. At 1 p.m., they will hold a special ceremony to recognize the newly installed ceramic tiled wall created by Sarah Hayes and the students of the Women's Coalition Project Link program, class of 2011. Well, many enjoyed an enlightening evening with the India Association, and Dada Vaswani, the 95-year-old religious leader, during his 16th visit, spoke to an eager crowd on Tuesday at the Marriott's Frenchman's Reef Beach Resort. Dada has been the guest speaker at many international conferences, such as the House of Commons in London. Now, Governor John P. Young Jr., who was in attendance, declared that the first day of October in 2013 as Dada J.P. Vaswani Day in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and he proclaimed that Mr. Vaswani will be named an honorary Virgin Islander for his many contributions to the territory. He has captured many worldwide with his statements on the reverence of life, peace, and the path to happiness. The Queen of Percussion is coming to the Virgin Islands. Sheila Escovedo, known by her stage name Sheila E., is a Grammy-nominated American singer, drummer, and percussionist whose notable collaborations include Billy Coben, Lionel Richie, George Duke. She is kicking off the new season of an exciting lineup at the Reichel Center this weekend.
Everyone knows her, I think, of course, through her association with Prince, but Sheila E. has actually been considered the best female drummer in the music industry for well over 30 years, and in fact, one of the best drummers overall. Even though people may associate her with Prince, she had a long career beforehand. So if you hear a song from the mid-70s or even the 80s, Lionel Richie, Diana Ross, George Benson, even a Beyonce song, you've probably heard Sheila E. on the drums. She's got a great musical pedigree. Her father, Pete Escovedo, played with Santana and Azteca. Her godfather was Tito Puente. She's going to do all their big hits, R&B, pop, jazz. She's going to do a little rock, and she even plays country, which I think is fantastic. We're very excited. The show is Saturday, October the 5th at 8 o'clock.
Now, a free workshop led by Sheila E. will be held on Friday at the Reichel Center. It's presented by the VI Council on the Arts, and that's from 9:30 a.m. You can call 693-1550, the Reichel Center, for more information. And we will have more on the Reichel's season next week. Well, into your health. Salt water was his life, according to the family of Henry Butch Konetsky, who died Monday night after he was exposed to bacteria in Florida's Halifax River.
It's horrifying. It's just totally horrifying.
Debbie Stack says it took just 28 hours for bacteria to kill her brother-in-law.
They did everything. They tried multiple antibiotics. But nothing was touching it. Nothing even phased it.
59-year-old Butch Knightsky was here on Saturday, walking knee-deep in the Halifax River, setting crab traps. The next day, he woke up and noticed what looked like a bug bite on his leg.
They did not take it serious until it started festering and quickly, and then he started feeling ill.
Knightsky was in the emergency room by Sunday night. On Monday, he was gone. Doctors say Knightsky was exposed to Vibrio vulnificus, a bacteria that quickly spread through his body and shut down his kidneys and liver. Experts say the bacteria lives in warm, brackish, or seawater. 2 cases of the same illness that killed Knightsky have been reported in Volusia and Flagler counties in the last month. Health officials are now urging people to avoid eating raw shellfish and going into the water with open wounds. That's how you can become infected with the illness. But Knightsky's family says more needs to be done to warn people that it's in the water.
If that's dangerous for people to be in, it should be at least posted. You know, we were tempted to make our own signs and go down there and post them on the trees.
Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.